and welcome to Write Woman Write, the site where we help you rev up your writing. I'm Donna Barker, and today my guest author is Glenna Mageau, who is an author of 4 novels, a writing coach, and a speaker. You write under the pen name of
Maggie Tom.
And so you're clearly very invested in the world of writing and authorship. What got you interested originally in writing?
You know, writing, I think, has been a part of my life pretty much my whole life. I mean, I grew up in a house full of books, so we were always reading. My parents were always reading. When we got bored with, the books we had, we went and got more. And I think at some point I just really got curious. I loved words to the point that I think my mother was not very happy with me because I remember Cat in the Hat book was one of the first ones I kind of destroyed. And I didn't cut the pictures out of it. I cut the words out of it. My mom was not thrilled. And then to make it worse, my mom, she was always reading people's, biographies, autobiography kind of books. And I just honestly at one point picked up one of her books and I cut out some of the words. Well, it just happened it had toward the end of her book. So she wasn't happy that the ending was missing.
No.
I wiped the words. So somewhere there, I got interested in writing. I actually wrote my first novel at the age of 9. I mean, it eventually ended up in the garbage, but so I've had a long time interest in writing. I'm not sure what really sparked it. I know I had an uncle who used to write music. He used to compose music, and I was so fascinated because I'm not musically inclined. I always wanted to be, but no, it wasn't quite my thing.
Yeah.
So he really inspired me because he wrote tons and tons of music, and it was fascinating. So I think that somewhere in there, it just interested me. And it was interesting because I can tell you right now, English class was not my favorite class. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't what got me interested in writing. But
well, and when I read your bio, I thought, a woman after my own heart. Like you set writing aside for a number of years because you didn't think it was good enough. And I can tell you, I've spent a lot of time in that mental state as well. So what finally set you on this journey to become an author?
I like I said, I have written for a very long time, and I did put it aside. I mean, I always sort of was, I guess, playing with it. When I was in university, I kept dabbling with it, but I was doing more poems, poetry. I think because I didn't have the time or the mental space to do much else, when you're going to university. But I never really got too serious. It was always sort of there. I wanted to write, but it's like, who am I? Like, mm-hmm. Who's going to read it? It's not going to be any good. And I had, some authors that I was following. Robert Ludlum, absolutely love his stuff. And Sandra Brown was another one, right? And so it was like, oh my God, they're so amazing. And, I could never be that kind of thing. Got into the 90s and was working full time, had more time to write. And so I was doing a lot more writing and wrote several books, right? But of course, all you see with all of that is what's wrong. And they were handwritten.
Oh my gosh.
So they were, like insane amount of work. And then of course, by this point, computers are starting to become a thing in the home. Well, to type that up, I don't know that I could have even read it. But anyway, I started actually by accident, because I didn't share my stuff with people. Mm-hmm. Let me back up. I did share it with 3 people, and they essentially told me that I sucked. Maybe not quite in those words. Well, one of them did, but anyway, the others were a little more diplomatic. And it's true. I probably did at that point, but it was still one of those things you really want to do. Right.
Right.
So I started looking at courses and by accident, actually, my husband saw some of my writing because I definitely did never show it to him. And he's like, oh my God, this is good. Why aren't you doing something with it? And of course, yeah, right. Thanks, honey. But what do you know?
Right.
And so I basically, ignored him. But then, it still sparks that, okay, well, maybe. So I started taking courses, got great feedback, learned a lot, joined a writing group. And it just sort of really sparked that, okay, there is something. Yes, I needed to learn. I needed to work on it. But, I got lots of great feedback to say, hey, you've got some really good understanding of writing, you got some good basics, you do dialogue really well. And so it was just a matter of learning some of those other things rather than going, okay, I suck, I can't do it.
Right.
So it really got me going. And of course, I kept writing. And by this point, I've written probably 8 novels, did nothing with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get into, 2000, and I'm still writing. And so I sent a few off to publishers, and you just never hear anything, right? I finally got determined in about 2006, 2007 to figure out, okay, how do I do this? How do I send it off to publisher? And so I started doing that more. 2008 came, and it was a horrible year in many, many ways. A lot of awful stuff happened that year in my life, and I lost some very important people in my life. And it was really a wake up to, do you want to keep wanting this, wishing for it, or are you going to do something about it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing about this was that I decided, yeah, I'm absolutely doing something with it. So took one of the novels I had, I tore it apart, rewrote the thing, and I sent it off to a traditional publisher. And I didn't hear anything for a very long time. And then finally...
You went straight to publisher without the agent?
Without the agent, yep. Nope, I just did the paperwork, figured out how to do it, sent it off. And again, like I said, I didn't hear for a very long time. I finally got a reply saying, this sounds great. I would love to see your manuscript. Please send it in. And so it's like, oh, yay, things are moving. It's exciting.
Yeah.
But again, everything went on hold. And, it's like, yeah, I'm getting to it. And I waited 6 months, and yeah, I'm still interested. It's still, I'm getting there. But it was exhausting. And it's like, I was at the point like, okay, I'm finally ready to publish. I'm finally ready to do something with my writing. Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. And so, but he kept telling me, yes, I'm interested. Just give me some time. I have some contracts to finish up. And essentially I thought, no. And why I decided to indie publish, I still don't really know, except that I wanted it to happen, because even if they had approved it, I was looking at roughly 2 years.
2 more years on top.
They published. And it was like, no, I'm ready now. Like, maybe you're not, but I So I made the leap, had no idea. I mean, absolutely no idea what I was doing. Extremely steep learning curve, but I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't have done it.
And what year was that? 2012.
2012.
Okay, so from 2008 to 2012. Wow. Yeah, that's a long time to be waiting when you're ready.
Yeah. And it was, it was probably, I think 2010, somewhere in there is actually when I sent it in to the publisher. It was kind of one of those, okay, do it, don't do it. But yeah, I mean, it just was taking forever. And it was like, so I pulled it from the publisher and indie published and self-published. Yeah, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change it.
That's fabulous. And you write suspense mystery thrillers?
Yes, I do. I do.
Is that the only genre that you write?
Actually, well, I've written, to be honest, to date, probably between 15 and 20 novels. I kind of have quit counting them because some of my old ones I still haven't done anything with, although there's some of them I really do want to take apart. They need work. They were definitely my early days. And do something with them, but somewhere down the road. But I do write actually nonfiction, and I do have about 3 on the go right now that I'm in the process of writing. So, and suspense thrillers, pretty much that's all I write. I used to write romance, but I kind of outgrew it. Nothing wrong with romance. It absolutely was what got me going, got me started. And actually, to be honest, I thought, I'm not sure why I had this, but I thought you had to write romance to break into writing, because I guess several of the authors I followed, that's what they did. They started with romance and then they shifted to, thrillers and whatever. So anyway, it was one of those goofy things I look back and think, not sure why.
That's really funny.
So anyway, but yeah, so, it's a journey, but it's one of those ones that you just need to take that leap.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when you're compelled like that. So you also obviously are very compelled to help other women take that journey. And
Absolutely.
that's what I really want to focus on now, is how you do that, and how the community and Right Women Write can also benefit from just a snippet of what you know.
Fabulous. Actually, I'm doing a number of things right now, which I'm really excited with where things are going. I've started doing workshops with women, getting them started with writing, because there's lots of hurdles. I so get them, right? We just think, oh, well, what's the point, or who's going to read it, or I don't know what I'd do with it. I don't know what my goal is, and it's you don't have to have a goal. You really don't. Writing is one of those things, and I think it's like any artistic craft that anybody has. It's kind of there, but we just don't think, well, I don't know how to do it, and I don't know what I'm doing, and it's a lot of work. And so I try and take all that away for people. And I think English classes, I hate to say it, but I think they scared a lot of people about writing. I get a lot of women go, well, I don't know where to put this or how, and it's like, forget all that. That can be fixed. That can be added in. That's after the fact. Writing stories is different than English. It really is. And I know there's going to be English teachers who, don't appreciate my saying that. But it is. And nothing, I mean, we need to know the English rules and all that, but that's after the fact. That can all be added in. It can all be fixed. I just love getting women to experiment and just to write. I think there's so much power in writing. It's so cathartic. It's a great way to work through a lot of things. And it just takes you to a whole other world. You get to create your own world, or you get to share your world, because maybe you're doing a memoir, maybe it's a how-to, whatever it may be. I just love encouraging women to leap.
So what do you think the women who do come to your workshops, and your workshops are live, right?
Yes.
Person. So what do you think the difference between the women who come and make that investment in finally telling their story or sharing their own personal story, and the ones that stay on the sidelines and say, I still don't think I'm ready for it? Do you have a sense of what it takes to make that leap?
I think that it's, that's an interesting question, because I know that it's about recognizing that it's something you really want, and that it's okay, to try and to step up. And I know that the workshops that I have, I absolutely love doing them. I love meeting the women. I love hearing the stories. And they're so inspiring. And it's just bringing a group of women together is just wow, in any sense. But I think that, I know one woman really comes to mind, because one of the things that she said, and she reminds me so much of me, was that she says, oh my God, before this, I absolutely never shared my writing with anyone. And she says, and here I am in this class. And she says, and I shared it. And she says, I got amazing feedback, and I feel so empowered to move forward. And so I think it's about knowing that, if you're going to take writing, if you're going to do writing, find out who the person is, and know that, like, I try and make my writing workshops as safe for everybody. And you don't have to share. It's totally up to you. But it's about knowing that you're safe there, and that, I share my screw ups, my mistakes, the way that I felt, because I've been through it all. I absolutely understand, those hurdles that we put in front of us. So I really try and take that away for people, so they don't have to feel like there's this block in front of them. And it's amazing. It's truly amazing. But as for why to take that leap, I think sometimes you just have to know it's worth it. You just have to know that you're worth it. Right. And the time is now, because we keep putting stuff off. I hear from people all the time, well, one day I'm going to write that, or, someday I'm going to do that. Yeah. And all I can say is, don't wait someday. You never know what's going to happen. And I've had too many incidents of that showing up in my life for people. And I know for me, I don't want to leave this world with regrets. I really don't. And I've heard that a number of times, and you kind of think, but it's true. I really don't. I want to go forward. I want to make a difference. I want to try and discover who I am. And so I strongly encourage women, step into it, go for it.
Yeah. You just made me think. My dad had always wanted to write a book. My dad wanted to do a lot of things, and he had the opportunity. One thing he realized he wanted to do after he was force retired, he said, I've always wanted to build a house. And so he designed and he built a house. He built the whole damn house himself. Like, he had someone help with the drywall, but aside from that, he did the whole thing himself. And then while he was doing that, he said, I've always wanted to write a book. And so he was already 70 at the time.
Beautiful.
He got the first draft, I'm going to cry. He got the first draft written, but he got sick.
Oh.
So he finished the first draft. I read it, gave him feedback, but then he couldn't do anything with it. And it was one of those regrets, because we had this little contest, who's going to publish first. I was sure he was going to publish before me.
Oh.
But that, I tell you, that experience with my dad, before I turned 50, I thought, okay, this is ridiculous. Why am I not finishing what I started? Like, am I going to wait till I'm 70 or till, anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway. Okay. Did not expect that, Glenna.
I know that.
Look how good you are. You just made me feel safe. You just helped me find my voice. Okay. So, and what does that mean, helping women find their voice?
I think it's just another way of helping women learn that there's another way to express themselves. And I know that many who have come to my workshop actually come because they want to tell their story. They want to tell their story, and they want to help empower other women who've possibly been through what they've been through. Many seem to have gone through some really tough things. I think we all have. I think, and I think that's why I'm so drawn to women, because I think we are amazing. I think we're so resilient and so smart and so beautiful and so funny, but we don't always know it.
Right.
And so by helping women find their voice, find that there's a way for them to share it. And it can be fiction, can be nonfiction. It's just a way to learn more about yourself. And I know that with everything that I write, I learn so much about me, and just people in general, really. And I just love it. I think writing is amazing, and I think everybody should do it in whatever form you choose. But I think writing should be an absolute must,
right,
in my opinion.
Right. Wow, so much in so little time. What would be your one, let's say if you had one bit of advice? I mean, that actually, you might have just said it. Mm-hmm. Everyone should write. That's probably what made me think of this question, but one other than bit of advice for any woman who's sitting on the sidelines thinking, I think I want to do this, but they're not sure, or they haven't made that jump.
You know what? Explore it, step into it, discover things. Absolutely what Donna's doing with her Write Women Write. Absolutely. I think that is beautiful and brilliant and a great way to bring women together in whatever way it may be. And if you're feeling safer online, do it online through Donna's membership group. I think it's great. You get to interact with other people and start following people that write. Discover what they do. Read stuff, because I guarantee you, every single person that has written and put their stuff out there has at some point gone, oh my God, what are people going to think? Because we're petrified of being judged.
Yeah.
And you know what? There is an audience for you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you write. There is an audience for you. So right, absolutely right. Take that step. There's so much, and especially the days we're in now. Oh my God. With the internet, absolutely amazing. The amount of information there, the amount of support, the different programs, and if you're courageous, take some courses. It's worth it. Step in writing groups.
Jumping in, there are so many people, so many women who are joining at the beta level right now as we launch Write Women Write. We're from Washington State. And I've seen a statistic that the West Coast of the United States has more writers per capita than anywhere else in the United States. It was just the United States. So you're not that far from Washington State. Yeah. And so just what the workshops that you do are on Vancouver Island?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are currently. And I am in the process actually of taking that all online as well, because I have had people, asking, is there any way we could do sort of, group workshops and that kind of thing online. So I am in the process of working that out for how I could do that. But yeah, absolutely. Actually, and I have 2 workshops coming up in September. One is the Write workshop, and that is getting women writing, getting started, no matter where you're at, or maybe you're stuck or you've never, ever tried it, but you have these ideas or people have told you that you have great stories and you should write them down. This is I've had women at all stages of writing, and I've had amazing feedback. It's just a great one. And then the other one that I'm doing is called Refine Your Writing, and it's actually 3 Tuesdays, one in September, October, November. And it's about adding more depth, color, imagery to your writing, again, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, what makes it grab the reader and hold their attention. So again, they'll both be fun, and they're just for women.
I love that part. The romance writers group that I belong to, where, interestingly, I hope nobody in official capacity is listening, but more than half of us write other than romance, because it's just the group of women who are members of this, well, the women who are members of this group are so supportive and lovely, and it is wonderful to be in a group with just women. There's something that we can just shed, and be ourselves a little more easily.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. I think that there's something magic when you bring women together. I really do.
Yeah.
And empowering. So
I am so looking forward to continuing to follow your course, and I have the privilege of being part of this first online course that you're teaching. So I look forward to working, seeing what that's like coming up, and hopefully I'll be able to get over to Vancouver Island too. I'm not that far, but that ferry is
yeah.
It's an impediment.
There is an issue.
For me, it is. Anyway, absolute treat talking to you. I think this conversation is probably going to go down in the books as the one where Donna cried. Thank you. And I truly so honored that you took the time to talk to me.
Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled to do this, and I love what you're doing. So congratulations on your new membership site. I wish you so much success with it. I think it's beautiful and brilliant. And
well, we'll stay in touch and be passing members back and forth.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Glenna.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.